My father built his life on control. Control of the orchard. Control of the business. Control of us. And even after he died, he still managed to split us apart. My name is Maya. I'm 32. I'm the oldest. I was always the responsible one, the fixer. The one who believed that if you worked hard enough, loved hard enough, you could keep everything together. I was wrong. We buried him on a clear afternoon. No rain, no drama, just silence. After the funeral, the three of us went back to the house. White siding, wide porch, apple trees stretching behind it like they'd been watching us grow up. Hawthorne Orchard. That place paid for our schools, our food, our childhood. And apparently it held secrets. In the kitchen, the air felt heavy. It was just me, my brother Liam, and my sister Sophie. Liam, quiet, careful with words. Sophie, observant, composed, always slightly distant even when she was standing right next to you. And me convinced we were solid. The lawyer handed me the envelope. Your father wanted you to read this. I opened it. His handwriting was precise, controlled, familiar. Halfway through, my fingers went cold. Sophie is not my biological child. The words didn't blur. They didn't need to. I read them again. He had known from the beginning. Mom had known. They chose not to tell us. They chose appearance. And then came the inheritance. The house, the orchard, the production facility left to Sophie. The financial accounts to me and Liam. I looked up. Sophie was already watching me. Not shocked. Not confused. Like she'd been expecting the moment truth finally stepped into the room. You knew, I said. She nodded. Yes. Liam stared at her. Knew what? I handed him the letter. He read, and his face tightened. That can't be real. It is, Sophie said quietly. There was no anger in her voice, no triumph. Just something steady. I looked at her. All these years. She shrugged slightly. I always felt different. Not because of how Dad treated me. He actually treated me better sometimes. That almost made it worse. That stopped me. What do you mean? He was careful with me, she said. Measured. Like he was proving something. With you two, he was strict. With me, he overcompensated. Memories started shifting. The brand new bike on her birthday. The way Dad defended her faster. The softness in his tone when he spoke to her. I used to think she was the favorite. Now I realize something else. She wasn't the favorite. She was the fragile piece in a structure built on silence. I didn't feel like I belonged, she continued. Not because you pushed me out, but because something always felt slightly off. Like everyone was pretending. Liam sat down slowly. So Mom cheated, he said flatly. No one answered. The room felt smaller. And he left everything to you? I asked. Sophie looked at the window. I didn't ask for that. But you're not giving it up, I said. It wasn't an accusation, it was a test. She met my eyes. And answered a no. She said it honest, at least that. We argued for days. Not screaming, not dramatic, just cold. Legal conversations layered over childhood wounds. Until finally we did what Dad never did. We made it equal, we restructured the estate. 3 equal owners. There was no hierarchy or symbolic favoritism. If he tried to divide us, we would undo it. That was the decision. That was the moment I believed we were stronger than the truth. The orchard wasn't just sentimental. It was functional. For years Dad sold apples wholesale. But Liam had always wanted more. In college he experimented with small batch cider. Obsessive, precise, quietly brilliant. Sophie understood branding and storytelling. And I understood contracts and expansion. So instead of grieving properly, we built something. Hawthorne Orchard Cider Company. Craft hard cider, small seasonal releases. Private tastings in the renovated barn. It felt symbolic. Turning fruit into something sharper, sweeter, and stronger. We threw ourselves into it. Long nights in the production wing. The smell of crushed apples, the steady hum of fermentation tanks. Working together forced conversation, forced coordination. And for a while it worked. We weren't warm, but we were functional. And I thought maybe that was enough. That maybe families don't need perfection. That was when I made the decision that would unravel everything. I brought Daniel into the business. 3 years together. He is reliable, calm, and stable. He had experience of operations, distribution contacts. He believed in the expansion plan. He believed in me, or at least I believed he did. The first few months were intense. Deadlines, investors, and launch events. Sophie and Daniel worked closely on marketing strategy. Late nights in the barn office, designing labels, planning tastings. I didn't think twice until one evening I walked into the storage corridor earlier than expected. Low lights and muted voices. I turned the corner. They were standing close, not touching, but close enough that the air felt different. They stepped apart too fast. Oh, Daniel said. We were reviewing the shipment schedule. Sophie smiled. She was calm and polished. Big launch next week. I nodded. Because I trust slowly, but when I do, I commit. And because I thought we had already survived the biggest secret this family could carry. I didn't know then that secrets don't disappear, they evolve. Launching a cider company sounds romantic when you say it out loud. Family legacy, handcrafted batches, locally sourced fruit. In reality, it's spreadsheets at midnight, exploding fermentation valves, investors who smile without meaning it, and exhaustion that makes you short-tempered. We were 3 equal partners on paper. But dynamics don't reset because a lawyer says so. I handled contracts and expansion. Liam lived in production, testing acidity, obsessing over sugar levels, adjusting temperature like it was surgery. Sophie built the brand, labels, social media, tasting events, partnerships. Daniel became operations manager. He was efficient, calm, and adaptable. Everyone liked him, especially Sophie. At first it was harmless. Inside jokes about branding ideas. Shared playlists during late-night bottling sessions. Quick glances that lasted a fraction too long. I noticed it, but noticing is not the same as believing. And I wasn't insecure. I had built this. I had chosen him, and I trusted my judgment. The first Real crack appeared during our autumn release event. The barn was packed. Warm string lights, wooden tables, and live acoustic music. People were laughing, tasting, and posting. Sophie moved through the crowd effortlessly, charismatic, polished, magnetic. Daniel stayed close to her most of the evening. I told myself it made sense. She was marketing, and he was logistics. But when I went to find him to discuss a distributor who had just shown up unexpectedly, I couldn't. I checked the back corridor, then the office. And then I saw them outside through the side window. Not kissing, not touching, but standing in the dark beside the orchard fence. Too close, too still. When I stepped outside, they separated immediately. Daniel smiled. We were just getting air. Sophie didn't explain. She never over-explained. That night, I lay awake longer than I should have. Not because I believed something had happened, but because something had shifted, and I hate not understanding shifts. Liam saw it before I did. I didn't know that at the time, but later he would tell me. One evening, he walked into the lower production wing without turning on the main lights. He heard laughter, low and private. He saw Sophie leaning against the stainless steel tank, Daniel standing in front of her, close enough that there was no professional reason for it. He didn't interrupt, he walked away. He told himself it was nothing. He told himself he wasn't going to create another fracture. Liam has always believed silence keeps peace. But it doesn't. It preserves tension. The next few weeks were subtle, nothing dramatic, but patterns changed. Daniel started staying later, even when his tasks were done. Sophie volunteered for projects that required coordination meetings. I caught them finishing each other's sentences during investor calls. I started noticing how often they made eye contact. It wasn't obvious enough to confront, just enough to erode certainty. Then one night, Daniel came home late. We lived together in a small townhouse 15 minutes from the orchard. I was at the kitchen table reviewing distribution contracts. You're late, I said. Supplier issue, he replied immediately. Too immediately. I looked at him. He held my gaze steady. If he was lying, he was good at it. And I have built a career spotting inconsistencies. That thought unsettled me more than anything. The real shift came on a Thursday. Ordinary day, production delays, marketing revisions, and nothing dramatic. Daniel left his jacket on the back of a chair in the tasting room. He was outside helping unload crates. I reached into the pocket absentmindedly, looking for his car keys. And my fingers brushed paper. Folded and small. I almost didn't open it, almost. Room 214. Thursday, 9 p.m. Back entrance. There was no name. There was no signature. But I knew the handwriting. Sophie's handwriting is precise. Deliberate loops, sharp edges on the letters. I had seen it on invoices, on whiteboard plans, on birthday cards. My body didn't react dramatically. No shaking hands, no racing heart. Just cold. Like stepping into winter, without noticing the temperature drop. I folded it back the way I found it. Put it exactly where it had been and waited. Because reacting without proof is weakness. And I don't move without proof. That evening, Daniel said he had a late meeting with a distributor. I nodded. What time will you be home? Late. When I smiled. Good luck. At 8:30 p.m., I got in my car. I drove toward the highway. Not toward a distributor's office. Toward the only boutique hotel within 20 miles. Room 214, I parked across the street and watched. At 8:57 p.m., Daniel's car pulled in. At 9:02 p.m., Sophie's. She parked farther back. Smart, they didn't walk in together. Daniel went first. Sophie followed 5 minutes later. She was calm and controlled. Like she had rehearsed this. I stayed in the car. Hands on the steering wheel, breathing slow. There's a moment when suspicion becomes knowledge. It's quiet, not explosive, just final. I didn't need to see them inside. I didn't need video. I didn't need confession. I had enough. And the worst part? It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the pattern. My father built a family on silence. Liam maintained peace through silence. And now I was sitting in a car, alone, holding silence in my throat like poison. At 11:38 p.m., they came out. Separate again. Daniel drove away first and Sophie waited. Then she left. I didn't follow either of them. I went home and sat in the dark and realized something terrifying. This wasn't sudden, it had been growing. Right in front of me, and my brother had seen it. I knew he had. I could feel it. The way he avoided eye contact recently. The way he hesitated before speaking. Silence again. Always silence. I didn't cry, not that night. I made tea and opened my laptop and began drafting documents. If they wanted secrets, I would respond with decisions. The next morning, I showed up at the orchard before anyone else. It was 5:40 a.m., fog sitting low between the apple trees. The production floor silent. I unlocked the office, sat down, opened my laptop and waited. Liam arrived first. He always does. He lives 5 minutes away. Claims he likes early starts. He walked in, saw me already there and paused. You're early. So are you. He nodded. Then silence. He knew. I could see it in the way his shoulders tightened. I need to ask you something, I said. He didn't sit, he stayed standing, and that told me enough. How long have you known? He closed his eyes for a second. Maya. How long? He swallowed. A few weeks. The confirmation didn't hurt the way I expected. It settled. Like a final piece clicking into place. You saw them. Yes. And you didn't tell me. He ran a hand through his hair. I wasn't sure. That's not true. He didn't argue. I didn't want to blow everything up, he said quietly. There it was. The inheritance of silence. You did this before, I said. His jaw tightened instantly. That was different. Was it?
He looked at me then.
Really looked. I thought it might pass. Pass? Like a fever. Like an inconvenience. Like my relationship wasn't real enough to protect. You thought I'd be fine. No, he hesitated. I thought if I said nothing, maybe it wouldn't become real. I almost laughed. That's not how reality works. He nodded. I know. And I believed him. Liam never chooses cruelty. He chooses avoidance. Which sometimes does more damage. Sophie arrived at 8. Daniel at 8:15. I watched them through the office window as they walked in separately. Professional distance, neutral faces. I called for a meeting. Conference table. For chairs, no investors, no staff. Just us. Daniel sat to my right. Sophie across from me. Liam to my left. I placed the folded note on the table. Smoothed it out. No one spoke. Daniel recognized it first. His face didn't collapse. But something flickered. Sophie didn't reach for it. She just looked at me. How long? I asked. No performance. Daniel inhaled. It wasn't. How long? He stared at the table. A month. Sophie corrected him and said, 6 weeks. It was honest, always precise. Something inside me registered that detail. They had timeline clarity. I had blindness. Why? I asked. Daniel answered. It just happened. That was it. It didn't just happen, Sophie said calmly. We were working late, talking. You were focused on expansion, on growth, on control. I felt that word land. I wasn't controlling you.
No, she said.
But you control everything around you. Liam shifted in his chair.
Daniel looked at me.
You're intense, Maya. Everything is strategic, measurable, and accountable. And that's a flaw? I asked. No, he said quickly. It's just hard to breathe sometimes. There it was. Not lust, not passion. Just air. You found air in my sister, I said. He didn't answer. Which was answer enough. I looked at Sophie. Did you plan it?
No, she answered.
Did you think about me? Yes. That surprised me. And I did it anyway. There was no apology in her tone. Just truth. I leaned back. Something cold and steady was replacing anger. Were you going to tell me? Daniel opened his mouth and closed it.
Sophie answered no.
At least they were consistent. What do you want? I asked finally. Daniel looked confused. What do you mean? Do you want her? Just silence. He didn't rush to deny it. That hurt more than any confession.
I don't know, he said.
Sophie looked at him, really looked. And for the first time, I saw something unstable in her expression. You don't know, she repeated. He hesitated. I didn't plan to fall for anyone. Fall. Interesting word. I watched them both. The realization arrived quietly. This wasn't just betrayal. It was transfer. He hadn't chosen her over me. He had drifted toward the version of the room where he felt less measured, less evaluated. Sophie wasn't warmer. She was less structured. And he preferred that. That didn't excuse it. But it explained it. And explanations are dangerous. Because they make pain logical. I'm selling my shares, I said. 3 heads snapped up. What? Liam said. You can't, Daniel said immediately. I can. Sophie studied me. You'd walk away from everything we built. Yes. Because of this? Because of the pattern. They didn't understand. Not yet. My father lied to protect an image, I said. Liam stayed silent to protect stability. You two lied to protect comfort. I stood. I'm not participating in that anymore. Daniel stood too. We can fix this. I almost smiled. No, you can fix your guilt. Not this. Liam looked devastated. You're leaving the business? Yes. You love this place. I love the idea of it. That was different. I didn't scream. I didn't cry in front of them. I had already processed the worst part in a parked car the night before. The rest was logistics. And I'm good at logistics. Over the next week, I contacted an external buyer. Minority acquisition with option to expand. Professional, clean, emotionless. Daniel tried to talk to me at home. I told him to pack. Sophie didn't try, which somehow hurt more. Liam came by one evening. I'm sorry, he said. I know. I thought I was keeping things together. I know. He looked small. Not weak. Just tired. You're breaking the family, he said softly. I shook my head. It was already cracked. The final day, I walked the orchard alone. No meetings, no noise, just trees. Rows and rows of them. We built cider from these apples. We turned sweetness into something sharper. Fermentation is controlled decay. You let something break down. On purpose. To transform it. The irony wasn't lost on me. Maybe families are the same. Some of them transform. Some of them rot. I didn't know which we were. But I knew I wasn't staying to find out. I woke up before dawn. The orchard was quiet, except for the occasional caw of a crow. I had already made my decision. No confrontation, no screaming, and no begging. Just departure. I packed my essentials the night before. Documents, keys, and wallet. A few personal items from my office. Everything else would stay. The business. The orchard.
The house. Their problem now.
I went downstairs first. Daniel was already in the kitchen. Coffee in hand. You're leaving? He asked, calm, like he hadn't expected resistance. Yes, I said. I can explain. No, you can explain your guilt. Not this, I interrupted. Sophie entered the room then. Her expression was unreadable.
Calm, too calm.
You're really going? She asked. I looked at her. Really looked. Yes. She nodded once, as if acknowledging an equation that had always been true. Liam appeared behind her, pale. Is there anything we can do? No, I said again. You can't undo what's done, I continued. I'm not punishing you. I'm choosing me. I've spent my life cleaning up after other people's silence and mistakes. Not anymore. Liam swallowed. He didn't argue. Daniel tried one last time. But the orchard, our cider company, we built this together. Yes, I said. And I'm leaving it for you. All of it. But I won't be part of the compromises, the secrets, or the lies that let this happen. I walked through the orchard one last time. Rows of apple trees glistening with dew. The barn, the production facility, and my office. Everywhere I looked, I saw memories. Childhood laughter. Late nights bottling cider. Birthday celebrations. Arguments. Secrets. And betrayal. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just felt the weight lift. For the first time in years, the future was mine. I left the house quietly. No goodbyes and no explanations. Just the morning fog swallowing me as I drove away. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. As I drove, I thought about the family I thought I had. The one I thought I needed. Blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. Loyalty doesn't require blood. I realized something finally. The only person I could truly rely on was me. And for the first time, that was enough. I pulled over at a small roadside cafe, ordered coffee, and sat by the window. Watched the world move around me. And I smiled. Not because it was easy, not because I wasn't sad, but because it was finally real. No masks, no compromises, and no more silence. And now I'm asking you, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? Would you forgive?
Would you stay?
Or would you walk away, even if it meant leaving everything behind? Because sometimes leaving is the only way to save yourself.